What up? What up? What up? What up? Happy Sunday afternoon here on the Bleav in Georgia Dawgs podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. Coming at you, I'm Corey Burton. Usually joining me is Israel Troop, but he is not here. This is a special edition of the show. The Georgia Auburn game happened just yesterday. Wanted to go ahead and give you a brief recap, brief rundown of that game. Just so that it's fresh in my mind, I should say, and it's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a short show, something to expect with what we're doing here on the Bleav in Georgia Dawgs podcast. Israel and I are going to come at you every once in a while with a little bit of extra segments, just to kind of let you know what's on our mind. So, if you follow Israel on Twitter, you'll see that he has a lot to say on that, and it's really good. It's really entertaining read, so I think you guys will enjoy it. So, wanted to let you know we are brought to you by Betonline.ag as well as Masterworks. BetOnline is your number one spot for all things betting. There's a new and improved betting platform, with that new website as well. This might be, like I said, the Super Bowl's it for football. That's all you got. But from score totals, player performances, and props, where the next fired coach is going to land, there's still a lot of props you can do. I can't wait to dive into all the Super Bowl stuff, like the coin toss, the over-under on the national anthem, all of that good stuff. There's also basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC. If you can bet on hockey, let me know, please. At Bleav in Dawgs on Twitter, let me know. It's right there under my name. So with the new year comes a new and updated desktop and mobile website. Sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Bleav to get started. It's not just football. There's like I said, there's basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC odds. It's the best. It's the best in the business, from sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, your number one online wagering destination. BetOnline is where the game's at. Also brought to you by Masterworks. What I'm about to say might shock you, but the greatest quarterback of all time is not just a GOAT on the field. He's a GOAT when it comes to investing too. He invests in stocks, crypto, and even art. Now you can even invest like the GOAT with Masterworks. Masterworks is the investing platform that lets you buy shares representing an investment in art from icons like Picasso, Monet, and Warhol. And even great, the art prices outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1992 until 2021. In fact, early investors already received over 30% in IRRs in 2020 and 2021 from the sale of 2 paintings. This is your opportunity to join 300,000 other members and invest like the GOAT. So go to masterworks.art/Bleav. That's masterworks.art/Bleav. See important disclosures at masterworks.io/disclaimer. Masterworks. It's where it's at. So one of the things we got is this basketball game, right? Georgia, Auburn. It was a good one. The upset bid, right down to the wire. It took a tie-breaking layup with 4 seconds remaining to post a 74-72 victory for the Auburn Tigers. It's extending their nation's longest winning streak to 19 games. So what went right? Well, Georgia played a lot better. It seemed like they were a lot more with it on the offensive end of the floor. They were rebounding a little bit better. Shots were starting to fall. They were starting to kind of play together. I early on and throughout the course of the season, I had always equated it to my PE classes. They're playing like 5 guys that have never met each other before, and they're just trying to see what each other's doing. Well, last night they actually played like they knew each other, or yesterday afternoon, I should say. But it wasn't enough. Auburn, they are what they are. So, like I said, they held together, and even when they weren't playing their best, they came through. KD Johnson for Auburn, he led the way with 20 points. they had a big deficit they had to overcome. So Georgia again played really good basketball. They they were better on the free throw line. Jabari over here, Raheem, did a much better job on at the free throw line. He was just much more sharp with everything. Oquendo led the way with 25 points, followed by Bridges and Eder with 14 and 13 respectively. Not much help from the bench, unfortunately. I think that's kind of where I think if they'd have gotten a little help from the bench, I think they could have been a little bit better. I think they could have actually pulled this upset off had they got some more from their bench. That's where the recruiting comes in my mind. They don't do well when the starters go out, especially Oquendo. When he has to take a break, which he does. He played 36 of the 40 minutes, so not much of a break, and they can't really afford to. He was 19 of 18 from the field. I think Georgia shooting 40% from the field, still not acceptable. You're not really going to win that way. 28% from three-point land and just 69% from the free throw line. Again, better, but not quite good enough. Auburn, again, was almost 80% from there. But what really stood out to me was Georgia's defense. At times, they made things difficult for Auburn. Auburn was just 40% from the field, just a tick under 40% from the field. So not a great night shooting-wise. I mean, outside of Katie Johnson, I think your next scorer was Wendell Green Jr., who hit his last 2 points were the most important points of the day. Then you had a bunch of single digits, and they didn't get much help from their bench as well. So this came down to a starters versus starters game, and Auburn is just better in that regard. So the last question I'm going to leave you on before I go, I told you this was going to be short. Is Tom Crean the guy? Judging from what we've been getting from our bench all season long, I mean, you had Abdur Rahim had 2 points in 18 minutes of play. Not much contribution from there. He only took 1 shot. He was 2 for 2 from the line, so that's where his 2 points came from. Got a couple of boards, but didn't really make much of a difference in this game. I think it's come down to recruiting. When you look at Tom Crean's resume, what has he done? He's had Anthony Edwards, and that's about it. Not much as far as production goes. A lot of people fled, like Katie Johnson and Severe Wheeler, to name 2 and exactly. But it just, I don't know, just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. I just don't think this program is going forward. Not that Tom Crean is a bad coach. I'm not saying that. Obviously, they play well at times, and he has done a good job for the most part in some aspects of the program. But when it comes to recruiting and keeping the depth of this ball club where it needs to be, that's where he falls short. And that's where I think you need to go get somebody that, A, can relate to the kids, B, has a really good foothold in Atlanta, and C, again, is an up-and-comer, hungry, from a really good program. So I don't know what needs to happen. I guess we'll know at season's end here in a few weeks. But again, a great effort by this Georgia team, probably one of the best efforts outside of the Alabama win that we've had all season. But it just wasn't enough for Georgia to come out victorious. So I'm going to leave it right there. Israel and I are going to be on early, a little bit later in the week. Facebook user says go Vols. Yes. When it comes to basketball, anybody but Georgia is probably the right answer. So, but this was your Bulldog Extra. Expect more of these segments as we go from myself and from Israel, and then of course the show itself. The main event, I should say, that comes with this program. But this is the Bleav in Georgia Dawgs podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network, presented by BetOnline and Masterworks. That's all I got, man. We'll see you back next week. Israel and I will join you. We'll probably be on. We'll probably air Wednesday morning for your viewing pleasure next week. We'll talk about National Signing Day as well as break down the basketball program more in depth. But I just wanted to kind of give you a post game reaction on what I saw. But subscribe at Bleav in Dogs, at Coach Burton 36, at Troopstar 28. Find us all across social media. Hit that bell notification if you're happy with what you saw today. hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment, whatever you got to do. Join the chat like my man said, go Vols. I don't even care. You can say go Vols, go whatever. I'll have any sort of discussion with you. It does not matter. So with that being said, I want to wish you the best for the rest of this weekend. Enjoy your week. We'll see you back here when we get this thing going.